Hi guys, it's Any from Any Given Sunday. So finally taking YouTube by storm. This is my first video. I'm super excited to finally get the wheels moving, the ball rolling on starting a YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, which I don't, well, never mind. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. So down below, or if it's that way or this way, I don't know, just down below, so that when I come out with more videos, so on and so forth, you can be one of the first people to know. So today I'm just going to give you a review on this foundation and concealer and setting powder and stuff that I have on that is from Too Faced. So I just picked up the Born This Way foundation. It's one of the newer shades from the relaunch that Jackie Aina helped or essentially worked with Too Faced to come up with. Also, side note, sorry if I'm like, the camera is here, but this is also how I can see myself. So yeah, never mind. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. So this is the foundation that I have on, and this is my final look. So I'm just gonna walk you through my initial thoughts and a tutorial and a final view on, a final review on the foundation. Stay tuned. So I went ahead and did my eye makeup, my eyebrows, and my eyeshadow off camera, and now I'm about to get into what we are here for. So first I'm gonna start off by priming with the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Primer. Now I'm going to use the Born This Way foundation, of course, in the shade Hazelnut. So this is one of the new shades. I went to Sephora to get matched with the foundation, and they matched me with the shade that was lighter than this, one shade lighter. And the shade that was one shade lighter than this was an old shade. It had already existed, and I almost bought it, but I was kind of uneasy because they didn't have any of the new shades out yet. So I was like, I want to wait and see like if there is a better match, since I now know that there are more shades, which means there probably could be something that is a better match for me. So then I took my talents to Ulta, and they had this shade, and this actually I thought was a better match for my neck, but of course we'll see now as I put it on. And then I'm going to take my e.l.f. powder brush to blend that in. So on the camera right now, it looks kind of reddish, but I know some other people had said that they just like give it time to settle into the skin. So I am going to do the same thing. Cool, so when I actually step back a little, as you can see, it actually looks like a perfect match to like my neck, chest. I think when I get close to the light, it looks slightly off, but I want to say that when people see me, this is how they would see me as opposed to this. But there's still something to be said about the fact that it's slightly orange on my skin. I wasn't expecting that. In terms of how it feels and how I think it looks like it's meant to give the impression of like skin. Yeah, when I sit back, it looks like it's just like enhanced skin, which I really like. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. In terms of texture, it looks like it's still giving a little glow, but I kind of like that for summertime. I like that summertime glow effect to look. It also could be the primer, because I also use the Hangover RX primer, which is based with like coconut water and skin revivers and so on and so forth. So I really like the fact that the primer actually has that, and I figure once you pair it with the foundation, it's meant to kind of sort of enhance your skin and make it look good as well as feel good as well. I also picked up the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, and these also came out in a whole bunch of new shades. So I tried to pick a shade that was closest to my NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer, which is my absolute favorite concealer, and that shade was Maple. So I have this in Maple, and I'm just gonna apply that to my usual places, under eye, on the in the like T-zone type area, and then on my chin to highlight. Whoa, it's a lot of coverage, so you really don't need that much. It's really thick. As you can see, it also looks like a foundation bottle. So I love the fact that there's a lot of product, but that also means you don't need that much. Okay, so this shade might actually be lighter than I was expecting, so I'm just gonna blend that out more. I'm gonna go back in with my foundation brush just to make those lines, that demarcation, less harsh. Just blend it in, because I do think this was a tad too light for my usual type of highlight, under eye highlight. Yeah, I think I can move on to the contour. Now they do, the concealer also is meant to be used as a contour if you pick up obviously a darker shade, but the darkest shade that they had, I can't remember if it was either Cocoa or Ganache, whatever the darkest shade they have in this was still not as dark as I would have hoped for a contour concealer, and I compared it to my favorite contour concealer, which is the Fenty Matchsticks. And the shade, it didn't even come close to how deep this one is. So I'm gonna go in with my usual Fenty, just because I prefer to have a concealer this deep. I think everything is coming together pretty nicely. I'm really impressed with how this foundation looks, and now I can see it matches my skin, so I think it's definitely settled in a lot better than when I initially put it on. It's like become more in tune, more one with my skin, which I'm really impressed with. Finally, the last Too Faced item that I picked up was their setting powder. Apparently this is a new product and they recently added shades. So this is in the shade, I think this is just the universal shade, but they added a translucent medium and a translucent deep. I wasn't able to pick it up because they just didn't have it in stores at the time, but it sort of reminds me of like the Laura Mercier translucent shade. So I think I'll be fine for using it under eye, but then for my face I'm gonna use the translucent deep from Laura Mercier. Now, the one thing I don't like is the packaging. So like this is exactly like the Cover FX packaging where this little lid is attached, and it just makes it hard to tap out your to tap out your setting powder. So I don't know, I might, for my Cover FX one, I actually ended up just taking it off. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it on and dab it to the top of this lid. And then use my beauty blender to get some on there. Cool. So I'm going to let this sit for a couple of minutes while I also go and do my lashes and just the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back with my final thoughts. Hi guys, so this is the final look. I went ahead and blended everything in, and so now my thoughts on the Born This Way foundation, and just overall the shade range, the launch, so on and so forth. I really like this foundation. At first, obviously while putting it on, it like kind of took me back, but I really like this foundation. I think it's like absolutely medium coverage, full coverage if you want. Medium coverage still gives you that like glam look, but also like you can tell I have makeup on, but like you would also think that like my skin wasn't that bad underneath. That like this is just enhancing my skin. The foundation isn't doing that much work to really like change anything. It's just really enhancing it. So I really am impressed. I'm so glad I can say, like, in terms of the shade expansion and like the new shades, I'm really glad that happened, because my match was one of the new shades. And I'm also really glad that I went and found some of the new shades to make sure I was a right match, because I wouldn't have been able to wear the foundation. The other foundation, the shade below, I think it was Mahogany, just wasn't the best match. It was slightly lighter, and that could be just because of like summertime, you know, being out in the sun. But either way, I'm so happy with this shade. I'm really happy with this foundation. I would recommend getting it if you like just feel like you want another foundation to have, even if you just want a foundation, a new foundation that looks like your skin. I would highly recommend picking this up. So really, like, kudos to Jackie Aina. She was like one of the first people, or like the first main Black YouTuber that I would ever watch. She basically taught me how to like beat my face or whatever. So I'm really happy that it's come like full circle in this way, where I can now like buy one of her products, or one of the products that she's helped create for darker skin women of color, so on and so forth. So really hope you enjoyed watching. I should be back, will plan to be back sooner rather than later with some more tutorials. Thanks so much for watching my first video, can't believe it. Yeah, so check out my blog, make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram at anygivensunday. Thanks so much for watching.